All right, so first time since watching the film and meeting with players, obviously disappointing loss. Unfortunately, it really is, what we talked about during the week. If you go into that place with the number one team in the country and you don't play really well in all areas, don't execute and make mistakes, they'll knock you down really quick, which is what happened. They got great coaches, great players. They came to play. I'm sure last year's game, was in their head, defensively especially. And, hats off to them for doing a great job. So we got to get back to work. We've, addressed what we need to as what we need to work on to improve. Like I've told our coaches before, I wish that you open the season with Alabama every year. So then, if you're not playing right, you're not playing with good fundamentals, you're not playing physical, you get exposed and, instead of, being able to get by with some stuff, until the fourth game of the year. So hopefully we'll get better.
You talked a lot after the game about the offensive line. Just when you watched the tape back, how much of it was schematic, how much was talent? Just what did you see that can be fixed?
Well, we're always looking at, schematical things we can do better and, could have. It appears to me they really, vanilla down, did not play a lot of different things defensively and got their cleats in the grass and much different than the year before where, they were trying to line up and get things done. It seemed very different. And so, when those guys line up and their cleats are in the grass, they're got really good players, and 31 dominated us, whether it was, coming down to the guard or the tackle. Great player. I think 10 has made them a lot better because he's a great player, and it seems, he really gets them lined up really well, which has always been a key, I feel like, to that defense, having a really good player at that spot to do that.
Just kind of flipping the page to Arkansas, your thoughts on them, where you see the keys to that being going into Saturday.
Well, this is the SEC and the SEC West. You go play the number one team now. You come home to, a top 15 team that, obviously, struggled last week against, I think, what it appears during the bye of watching people and stuff like that. You got two super elite teams this year, with great players, both sides, but especially defense. And then it seems like there's kind of a drop-off. So, gauging them in that game, everyone has struggled. Georgia's got great players and exposes people. So prior to that, they were playing extremely well. They run the ball really well. They don't give up explosive plays. I think they're second in the country in pass defense. So this is a scheme we struggled with a year ago. We basically switched to it pretty much on our defense because it's really good and, they do a great job and they play super hard.
Lane, you mentioned analytics on the fourth down calls Saturday. What is the process on your staff for consuming the data, analyzing it, then presenting it to you?
Well, on top of it, we get I call it like our report card, yesterday where it, goes over every situation, verifies, what you should have done and whether you did it. And so that book comes early in the week, and that is based off of the opponent. It's been talked about a lot. It's based off of the opponent, how you're playing, who you're playing, and so I think really to sum the whole thing up, the question got asked to me about, well, were you just doing that because it was Alabama? Were you being, aggressive? No, that was all analytics and following it. And I think in those games, because I've been in those discussions when you're in the rooms, all right, what are we going to do? We're the heavy underdog. Let's just keep it close, so it doesn't look as bad, and punt the ball away. Well, we don't play that way. And I don't think when you're a heavy underdog, you win that way, especially with a good quarterback. So, we followed them, and they didn't work. The year before they did. And then we had press conference, everybody thought it was brilliant. So that's what it is. And I said it like blackjack, And there's $5 out there. Everybody hits when they're supposed to on 16, you know. Then they got all this money out there. They're supposed to hit. They know it, but they don't because they get scared. So that's kind of the comparison.
In your decisions during the game, how much do you lean on analytics versus feel of the game? Do you change up in that way?
Yeah, I have the analytic at that point told to me. You know, the ball's right there. And so it can even tell you on the first down, you know, each first down that you make, what you need to get, you know, 3 or less. So if you get to 4th and 3 or less, you should go. So, you know, usually follow that. There is a feel sometimes to a game. And sometimes you even go above it, which we did this year. There was a time we were supposed to punt. We were playing so well on offense, we went for it. And we weren't supposed to, you know, so, and it worked. So there is a feel to it, yeah.
When you've got a game like this one coming up where both teams are coming off of pretty big losses, does anything change feeling-wise when it's just two teams that are trying to rectify last week? Does that affect anything at all?
Obviously not in preparation, maybe on the outside, you know, because both teams struggled a week ago versus the 2 best teams in the country, you know, but still a matchup of top 20 teams, you know, that have come a long ways, you know, in 2 years, especially them. You know, this was a team that, you know, 2 years ago struggled to play any game close. I remember, you know, losing by a couple scores to North Texas, so Sam has done an unbelievable job.
The Arkansas game last year was a tough one for Matt, but it seemed like it was kind of a pivotal moment for him. How did he sort of handle everything during that game, and how did he kind of handle everything that came afterward?
Well, I think that game taught him a lot. I think it helped a little bit in this one. You know, when this game wasn't going really well, you know, he forced 1, but outside of that, you know, he really, you know, scrambled back and got 2 yards. It doesn't look pretty, you know, but, you know, the sack caused fumble, but outside of that, you know, there's obviously a big difference. He threw no interceptions versus 6. So, you know, I think he learned from it and will be tested this week because I wouldn't think they'd change.
Do you have an update on Mingo yet?
We do not. Hopefully he plays.
Anything on Springer?
Same.
2 questions. The first one, what have you seen out of KJ Jefferson on film? How does he kind of jump out to you?
Yeah, he's made big plays with play action or kind of trick double move type plays, and obviously runs the ball really well. And I don't know what he weighs. It looks like he weighs 250. So, you know, that's an issue tackling this guy and bringing him down.
And got a lot of play during the game, after the game. Your CBS interview, was that just off the cuff? You had to say something, or where did that popcorn line come from there?
That's a good question. So, as you guys know, I tell it like it is, good and bad. You know, that was not premeditated. Sometimes you get caught up in emotions, and I just heard something when I was yelling in the locker room and someone saying that, and I didn't even know why it came out. And I actually said to Levy, I got in the headset, I just said something really stupid. You better score a lot of points. So, and I didn't realize it was the last question either. You know, they were calling for kickoff return. I think there was 30 seconds on the clock and the refs were calling for. So I literally didn't know there was another question. And when I found out afterwards, you know, that looked rude, which it did, you know, I contacted Jamie to make sure she knew that was not on purpose. So to apologize for that. That was not done on purpose at all. Looked like it, though. I saw it.
Coach, how do you balance?
And then I said at halftime to Levy, I go, it looks like we didn't plug the microwave in, buddy.
How do you balance going up tempo when you're in a situation on short yardage situations and not having someone like Snoop in, not allowing the defense to substitute to actually putting him in?
That's a great question, and we talk about that. You know, you give up a lot when you sub because now they can bring in bigger people. You know, they can get aligned, and you know, over time we've been really good in those situations. That was discouraging when they stopped us in short yardage. You know, and I even got discouraged why we threw later on another one. You know, unfortunately, you don't get to look at the tape right at that time to realize, hey, there's one thing that happens on it. Not only is it a first down, that stop, in the first is the touchdown, and the guy makes an unbelievable play on it. So, that's why you wish you could see the replays to know that. We really should have kept running it in short yardage, as strange as that seems.
Wayne, you mentioned after Saturday's game, you were not pleased with the offensive line play in that game. What did the film show you? What were the issues?
I didn't tell you're an O-line guy at heart. You always have O-line questions. That's the ultimate test, I just watched Georgia, the first quarter, to watch Arkansas's offense. So, Alabama and Georgia, if you sign the best players, especially on defense, over years and get all the 5-star players, it starts to show up, and you see that happening with both teams. So to answer your question, we struggled. We struggled up front, in a number of matchups. So is what it is.
2 questions here. First one, Jarian kind of had a rough game number-wise. I know you sounded pretty upset after that 4th down play. I don't know if he got another carry in the game after that. Was that situational? Was that based on situation, or were you upset with kind of what you were seeing from him?
No, that wasn't on that. And 10 made a great play, We short motioned the back over here, and he ran like he thought he was going all the way out and then ran into it. So, that is what it is. But that was not because of that. And then I think later in the game it was really Harlan was running really well. And he one of our few guys that played well and, played like he belonged on that field.
And then the other one, when we had Levy in here a couple months ago, he sounded pretty optimistic that John Rice was going to be a pretty big contributor. I'm just kind of curious where John Rice is at in terms of kind of making a bigger impact.
I figured that would come. Like I've said, those don't come as much when you score all the time. So, fair question, and it's tough to move positions, and you're backing up, Drummond, one of our best players. So, it's not ideal for him. He was backing up, arguably the best quarterback in the country, and now he's backing up one of the best slots. So, not ideal for him.
Going off that, did you like what you saw from Jaden and Dennis in this game, or kind of what do they need if they got to keep stepping up?
Yeah, Janice had the penalty early, not getting a line, which is what we do. Obviously, he's trying to go fast, and they're not aligned on defense, and but he did some good things. Dennis made the big catch, so that was good to see, and we've said it for 2 years now. We need better play out of our backup receivers because our guys play too much again this year, and you see it with 13. Braylon's tired in the game. He does not look like the Braylon we've seen before, running by people.